Hey, thank you for watching this video. So I'm going to be giving you a real life scenario, kind of what I did in my classroom this past weekend on Learning Loop Day, what I call my classroom math workshop. Um, so um, Basically the first 5 minutes, I pass back the quiz after I checked it the night before and go over it. They go over it with their blue pens and they correct it and things like that. Take real quick, 5 minutes. And then 5 minutes to explain the stations and group. It'll take longer the first time, definitely. When I first time I did it a couple weeks ago, it took me about 20 minutes to explain the stations and groups just to kind of make sure that the students had it down. And then this past week I did 4 12-minute rotations with that 50 minutes that I had left over. And then a teacher table, and then what I needed for my teacher table this week, and then what square or triangle cards I had. So this is kind of this is just the sheet for me. So the students wouldn't see this part. This is like, okay, what my lesson plan is for the day, kind of. And then, so I did this all on slides as well, as you can see here. So math workshop, and so I divided my groups up into 5 different groups. So I deleted my students' names and put our Quincy teachers on here. So this was our below level group, on level group, and then above level group. So some of these students here in this triangle group, I even out the triangle and square group to make sure that I kind of had even groups, but more of these students would probably be in this square group. But I just divided them evenly here just for the time being. So yeah, this is kind of how I grouped them up based on what their scores were. Maybe so my quick quiz this week was 8 points. So these students maybe got like 0 to 5 points right. These ones got like 6 or 7. These square kids got 8 right, 8 out of 8. So how you would do it kind of with 3 rotations here, or with 3 groups with 4 different rotations. There's a teacher table, so that circle group might even be with me for the first 2, depending on what the needs of those students are. And I might sometimes not even meet with this triangle group or the square group. Definitely wouldn't work with the square group for very long, or just make sure that they are doing a good job of using that square card, that Math Activity Center card. Just kind of checking in with them there. So worksheet, then they would do Imagine Math. So this P means partner. They can use it with partner. Independent work, they use independent, and then Chromebook. So I usually like to have like a physical activity, like a practice sheet, or homework remembering. Then a fluency, which is also on our Chromebooks or iPads, and same thing, using an iPad Chromebook station. So that's kind of one way how I did it this past week. So this was 2 weeks ago. I kind of used this method, and then how I use it a couple weeks, or last week Friday, I got rid of the students' names as well. But I had so many kids in this, so I had the dinosaur themed classroom. So I had so many students in that missed between 0 and 5 on an 8-point scale. And so I needed to split them up into 2 different groups. And same thing here, I want to split them up in 2 different groups. So I had one group. So if they're using the triangle card, there's only 4 people that are working in a group instead of 8. So that can get kind of crazy. So I actually used 6 different groups, but had them in below level, on level, and then above level here. So this is kind of what it looked like. This seems like it's a lot, and it's a lot of work, and a lot of different moving parts. It is, but it's not at the same time. So these 2 groups were doing the same thing at the same time. The Raptors were doing the same thing, and then I would pull half of that Raptor group for the teacher table, and then the last station I'd pull the other half for that group there. And so they're getting that fluency practice first, then that practice sheet. Same thing here. So the Triceratops groups, they're doing the card. So I'm not pulling any groups these first 2 stations. So I can make sure that the Triceratops know how to do that card. Then they know how to do the card the next one. Same thing with that square card. And then these are the higher level students. And they know how to do it. So I'm kind of like putting out fires and kind of making sure, pushing them in the right direction. So they're not just sitting there doing it, nothing. Or just like goofing around and giggling around and stuff. So that's kind of what they did there. And then I had a quizzes thing here too. So they use quizzes code, more fluency type stuff, but more gamey. And then they would do Imagine Math here at the end. Yes, and then we also use Poggles on Think Central. There are a lot of different resources that you can use. So Poggles is the game section when they go onto their Math Activity Center student version. So they're games related. There's 3 different sections of games that they can do. I can show you that real quick here too. To log into your Think Central. So that looks like this for students. Math Activity Center student. And games here. So they pick on these Poggles games. So they can move up throughout the levels of those. So yeah, that's kind of what I did this week. So more real life example. Hope you're able to try it out sometime this week or next before our great group meeting. Thanks.